summer. It is sunny. It is hot. I am so happy. From last week, jackets and socks and cold, to this week suddenly it's just sunny and it's hot and it is just awesome. So as we're entering into a new season, literally going into summer where we're going to swim and have a ball, we also believe that in the spiritual, we are entering into a new season, meaning that soon we will be back at church. Soon I will be able to see you. I'll be able to elbow you. I can't wait. While we are finishing this series about confidence, being children of integrity, we need to have confidence to know that God is with us always. So if we look back, we had 3 weeks of talking about confidence. First week, we spoke about Moses that said, please don't choose me. I can't do this. I can't speak in front of people. I huckle. No, please don't choose me. Where God is like, but I'm going to be with you. And I know what I placed inside of you, and I know you will be able to save the people out of Israel. So you will do it. And because God gave Moses the confidence and said, I will be with you every step, Moses said, I will do it. Then the second week, we spoke about you can't blow up about all your confidence that I can do everything and actually not be humble. Because God said humble people will get very far. He talked about a story, a parable in the Bible, in the New Testament, about being at a feast or a wedding, and you think you are so good that you will sit in the front row. And then the people are like, excuse me, sir, you need to go sit there in the back. We've got very more important people than you. And that you will feel embarrassed. But it's better to go sit in the back row and people come and say, excuse me, you are very important for us. Please come sit in the front row. It will show that you are humble, that you never think that you are better than anybody else. And then last week we spoke about being foolish, to have foolish confidence. What a funny thing to say. But who was it again? King Ahab was thinking, I can conquer this country, I will take over. And he said, I'm going to do whatever I want and not listen to God. And what happened? He died. So this week we are finishing off. By having confidence, we also need to be brave. And sometimes it's hard to be brave, especially when we're scared, especially if there's other people that makes us nervous. To be brave, you really need to have a lot of guts to stand up for what is right. And sometimes against people that you think is on your side, but they're not. And there's a story in the Bible, we all know the story, and I'm quickly going to take you to a story about David and Goliath. Quickly check out the story and we'll be back now.
God's story, David and Goliath. So part of God's story is about the time David fought Goliath. And it begins like this. David was the youngest of 8 brothers. His job was being a shepherd, which meant he spent all day in a field watching sheep eat and roll around the grass. Meanwhile, some of his brothers were off with the Israeli army preparing for war against the Philistines. The Philistines were one of the toughest armies the people of Israel had to fight. So one day, David was taking food to his brothers because his dad asked him to. But when he got there, his brothers accused him of coming so he could watch the fight instead of the sheep. Since David knew in his heart he was just obeying his dad, he didn't mind being misunderstood. Anyway, while David was there, he saw a huge Philistine man, more than 9 feet tall, step onto the field between the 2 armies. He was wearing a thick helmet and armor and carrying huge weapons. His name was Goliath, and he was definitely used to being the winner. David found out that Goliath had been stepping onto the field like this every morning for the past 40 days and saying, "Give me a man and let us fight each other." But nobody from Israel was brave enough to fight him, even the king. Well, David didn't like that this giant was intimidating the Israelites. After all, they were God's special family. And because God was with the Israelites, they could have courage in any situation. So David, who wasn't even a soldier, told the king, "I'll fight against him." Now, the king thought David was too small, but he really wanted someone to fight Goliath. So he gave in. And David knew he wasn't strong enough to beat Goliath by himself, but he believed God would be with him. So he said, "The Lord will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine." The king hoped David was right. He even had his own weapons and armor put on David, but they didn't fit him. David decided to go into battle in his regular clothes. That's how sure he was that God would help him. Anyway, David went to a nearby stream and chose 5 smooth stones to use with his slingshot. Then he walked onto the battlefield to meet the massive Goliath. When Goliath saw how wimpy David looked, he was furious. He thought he'd get to fight the Israelites' strongest warrior. He said to David, "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks? I'll give your flesh to the birds and wild animals." David might have looked like a wimp, but he was actually really brave. In fact, he was so brave that when he was taking care of sheep, he fought off bears and lions. Because God helped him protect his sheep, David knew God would help him protect this special family. David said, "You come at me with a sword, but I come at you with the name of the Lord Almighty." He was explaining to Goliath that God was more powerful than anything. He also added that he would feed Goliath's flesh to the birds, which made the giant even more mad. Then David took a stone, put it in the slingshot, and slung it at Goliath. Goliath didn't even get a chance to swing a sword because the stone hit him right in the forehead and sunk in deep. He face-planted straight into the ground. Nobody could believe it. Then David ran over, took hold of the giant's sword, and drew it from the sheath. He took the sword and cut off Goliath's head. David carried the head all the way back to Jerusalem. And when the Philistine army realized Goliath was dead, they started running away like a bunch of scaredy cats. The Israelites chased the Philistines, shouting loudly. They had won. God used David, who was just an average kid, to rescue his people. And that's the story of David and Goliath. So, in case you missed it, here's the quick version. David was a shepherd. He brought his brothers lunch. He saw Goliath. Goliath scared everybody. David wasn't scared. He knew God was stronger. David fought Goliath. He used one stone. God helped him kill Goliath. The Israelites won. God's people were saved. And that's a part of God's story.
So what happened? This tiny little man called David, nothing special about him, nothing to brag about, suddenly came out to visit his brothers in war, realizing there's Goliath, a huge giant that's killing all the people. And David, knowing God, he's got a relationship with God. He talks to God. God loves David. He's got a little slingshot. Do you know a kitty? He's got that with 5 little stones. And he defeated a giant. So what am I saying? David was brave enough to say, I don't care if I'm small. I don't care if I'm young. I don't mind any of that. I know that God is with me. If God told me I need to slay this giant, I will do that. I will be brave. And I want to finish off with this, guys. We need to be brave. And there's so many times in life when we're scared of the dark, we are scared to talk in front of people, we are scared to maybe do homework because we're so scared we're going to fail. But God said, but if you've got the confidence inside of you to know that God lives inside of you, then you can do anything. Then you can be brave enough to do whatever is happening in your life. I've got a cool song that we're going to finish off with, and I really want you know this song. If you're part of Children's Church for the last year, you know this song. We sing this song a lot about being brave. And the song goes, if I'm brave, I will put on my shield and I'll stomp my feet. Meaning that I will be ready for whatever is happening outside. I will be brave enough to face it. And guys, for this last bit of school and the last bit of not going everywhere we want to be, you need to be brave. Brave to say, Lord, I'm going to face whatever is happening in my life. I will face it full on because I've got my shield on, I've got my armor on to protect me, and I've got you inside of me that will guide me. Guys, have an awesome week. See you soon. I can't wait. Have an awesome week. God bless. Bye.
Whoa, Bravery, bravery, I put up my shield and I stomped down my feet. God made me strong and I know He's beside me. Bravery, bravery, I put up my shield and I stomped down my feet. God made me strong and I know He's beside me. When I'm scared and I feel like I'm all alone, God is there, He will never leave me, no, no. Bravery, bravery, I put up my shield and I stomped down my feet. God made me strong and I know He's beside me. Bravery, bravery, I put up my shield and I stomped down my feet. God made me strong and I know He's beside me. When I run, I can't hide from your love for me. You are there by my side anytime I need. Bravery, bravery, I put up my shield and I stomped down my feet. God made me strong and I know He's beside me. Bravery, bravery, I put up my shield and I stomped down my feet. God made me strong and I know He's beside me. God made me strong and I know He's beside me. God made me strong and I know He's beside me.